So we just recently had a leadership contest in the UK where we have a new prime minister. It got me thinking, and I wanted to talk a bit about leadership and maybe via the context of the scriptures. I want to give you an example of a guy I regard as a great visionary. So in the 70s, Bill Gates had a vision, or rather a goal or a purpose, and that was to have a computer on every desk. And don't forget, back then the computers were these big massive towers with these rails and all these bits and bobs attached to it, and these things were massive, and it was unpractical or unrealistic to have a computer on every desk. And as we speak, or even as I speak today, I'm sitting here with my little computer, my phone right here. On my side, I've got my iPad as well as my MacBook. And not only is this vision realized, but society would be different if we didn't have all these gadgets. And all I'm trying to say that back in the 70s, these looked like impossibilities or non-starters, things that were just too far-fetched. And that is a visionary, someone who can see beyond what normal people can see. And in normal, I'm trying to express the ability for them to dream bigger than the average. So a visionary or a good leader is the one who see what people regard as impossible, something utopian or something that is out of reach. And that's the first thing. Leadership is about vision. It's seeing beyond what other people see. The book of Proverbs tells us where there's no vision, the people perish. Other translations say where there's no vision, the people cast off restraint, or they lose discipline. They do whatever you want. Where you lack leadership, where you lack a visionary, it manifests itself by how society or the condition of society. People become aimless. People become purposeless. People become non-planners. So it goes without saying that a leader is a visionary. He's the one who sets an angle and then begins to work his way towards that particular vision. And leadership is so important because it's the first thing that God sets as a mandate for mankind. Adam was expected not only to govern himself or to rule himself, but he was also expected to govern, to rule, to rudder is the actual Hebrew, his surroundings. God creates everything, but he allows Adam to participate in leading or managing himself as well as his environment. I think the first man, when he sins, is told to master sin. It says it crouches, it's around you, it's near you, but you need to master it. And that is what we are mandated to do. Each individual is meant to lead different aspects of our life, from the mundane things, the small things like how you spread your bed or how you organize your work, to the great things like leading a nation. Charity begins at home. Your ability to lead in the small thing eventually ends up being the way you lead these massive organizations or, etc., etc. The greatest leader that ever lived is Jesus. Jesus is notably the most influential leader ever. The likes of Socrates and Confucius taught for years and years and years, and Jesus only taught for 3 years, and his impact, his influence is still felt today. We have quotes on buildings, and literally everything that is around us is impacted or influenced by Jesus. There's arguments about who is Christ, who is Jesus. The Islamic faith call him a prophet, a Messiah. The Christians call him this. The Buddhists want to include him. All these religions feel his impact and his influence. So Jesus, regardless of whether you like him, you love him, you hate him, whether you use his name as a cuss word, his influence is still being felt. Jesus' leadership style was empathetic but transformative. Jesus saw what others didn't see in people, and I will make you fishers of men. His leadership was so transformational. When he associated to people, their lives changed. He gave them purpose. He was able to release potential in these people. Jesus meets a bunch of plebeian fishermen and creates some of the greatest leaders that we know. One of the most impactful leaders that this world would ever know. The likes of Peter and James and John, whose impact is still felt. He saw things that others couldn't see. When a woman is caught in adultery and he gives her back her value, Jesus saw beyond what others see. Or when he meets a scammer of sorts, a tax collector named Zacchaeus, and he brings to his household salvation. Or when he associates with a demon-possessed woman called Mary Magdalene and gives her purpose. Or a highly educated man called Nicodemus knows the meaning of life. Jesus, his influence was transformative. So you're probably asking me, so what's my vision? What's my purpose? How do I find my vision? And these are questions that everybody wants answered. Why was I born? How do I find out what I was born to do? There's inklings in you. There's always going to be signs around you for what you were engineered to do. If you see something with 4 wheels on it and this metal body on it, you're going to assume that automatically this thing is meant for movement or transportation because it's got wheels. It's probably the same thing with you. There's certain things around you, certain things that make you or draw you towards a certain thing that kind of define your purpose in life. There's a story of a guy called Moses who had this natural desire to want to free the children of Israel. Way before he ever met God, he would go into the Israel camp and kind of want to liberate the children of Israel, because that was what he was designed for, to be a liberator, to be a great leader, to be able to draw this nation out of captivity and give it freedom. So there are things in you that tend to draw you to your purpose. You have a sense of what you were designed for, because if it looks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, it walks like a duck, it's definitely a duck. So there's certain things in you that draw you to your purpose. So Jesus would say things like, I only do what I see my Father do. He found his vision and purpose by that association. Or when he would say things like, he who sent me is with me. That means his purpose. That infers that purpose in itself is always defined by your relationship with the Father, the maker of all things. Anything that draws you from that lack of association with the author of your life usually means you're likely to abuse that gifting, that resource in you, and potentially manifest evils by not having that association. The Bible is very clear that the gifts and the callings of God are without repentance, or cannot be revoked. So you will continue to manifest certain things in your life because you were designed to perform in a particular way. But your purpose is engineered in you. It's part of your DNA. That's how you know your purpose. But the most important thing is for you to collaborate with your maker to be able to effectively manifest your gifting. And just to wrap it all up, I wanted to share the fact that many other times we set a vision and it seems out of reach for us. But the scriptures always emphasize collaborating with people who have a certain skill set that you may lack. And this is where you need all these vast resources to aid you to accomplish your vision. And they include all sorts of things, from tools like AI tools to financial resources which help you to accomplish that, or even the human resource. And you see in the book of Jeremiah, where Jeremiah's prophecies are ripped by this king and burned to throw away, he hires a scribe called Baruch to write down these prophecies, or even go into areas that he himself could not go. Jeremiah at one point was banned from the temple area, but obviously the people that these prophecies were meant for were in that particular place. So he would send this man called Baruch to read out these prophecies. So sometimes where you're limited, someone else takes over. Or Peter, who I've described as a pleb or unschooled or unlearned, would hire a guy called Silas or Silvanus to help him write the epistle that we now call 1 Peter. So your visions are accomplished by collaborating with other people or taking advantage of the resources that are around you to make sure that you accomplish this particular vision. So your ability to lead, your ability to be transformative, your ability to be influential needs you to be innovative, to be collaborative, and to be focused on that particular thing. And it's essential that you become collaborative with the Lord, your maker. In all this, I wanted to be able to look at the fact that we are all meant to be visionaries. We're all meant to be influential. We are all meant to be transformative. In this atmosphere where we have a cancel culture where people naturally condemn others who have failed, we need to be transformative in that the people that we meet that have been condemned can be impacted positively to find value in their lives by us being influential, impactful, and corrective in their lives. Anyway, God bless you, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.